In this video, I would like to approximate the given integral using trapezoidal rule, midpoint rule, and Simpson's rule. Let's start with trapezoidal. So I have integral x goes from 1 to 2 of square root of x to the third minus 1 dx, and I would like to use 10 subinterval. So the delta x is you take the 2 minus 1 divided by 10, so the width of the rectangle is equals to 0.1. So you draw a line, and then from 1 to 2, you cut this into 10 pieces. So from 1 to 2, you cut that into 10 pieces. And then the width of each piece is 1, so the increment is 0.1. So from 1 to 1.1, and then 1.2, 1.3, 1.4, 1.5, so on and so forth. The increment is equals to 1. And then you can see there are exactly 10 intervals in there. For the trapezoidal rule, the coefficient pattern is start with 1, ends at 1, and then in the middle, a bunch of 2. Okay, so let's write the entire expression first. So we have T10. T10 means trapezoidal rule using 10 subinterval. And then the formula is you have to use delta x divided by 2. So 0.1 divided by 2. We divided by 2 because trapezoidal rule is the average of the left sum and the right sum. When you take the left sum plus the right sum divided by 2, that's how the 2 in the denominator, that's where the 2 in the denominator came from. And then you have what? You have from F1 all the way to F2, right? So F1, what is the coefficient of F1? 1. And then from 1.1, the coefficient pattern, 1 and then a bunch of 2's, right? So 2 F of 1.1 and then plus 2, not 3, I almost wrote 3, and then F of 1.2, and then 2 times F of 1.3, and then plus 2 times F 1.4, and then you go all the way to 2.0. So 2 F 1.5, and then 2 F of 1.6, and then 2 F of 1.7, and then 2 F of 1.8, and then plus 2 F of 1.9, and then plus 1 times F of 2.0. So let me make sure I have all the numbers 1, 1.1, 0.2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then the 2.0. Okay, the next thing is how do you find F of 1, F of 1.1? How do you find those y values? So remember, so let me do this in a different color. So remember, you have f of x, the function, the integrand is the x to the third minus 1. So when x is equals to 1, so you have f of 1 equals to 1 to the third power minus 1, that is equals to 0, right? And then when x is equals to 1.1, you plug it in, so you have 1.1 to the third power minus 1, that is approximately equal to, so here is the annoying part, usually they would like you to approximate your answer to 6 decimal places. 6 decimal places means you have to keep 6 numbers on the right hand side of the decimal point. So this is approximately equals to 0.575326. And then f of 1.2, so you plug in 1.2 raised to the third power minus 1, that is approximately equals to 0.853229, and then so on and so forth. Now, how do you get this? You might say, easy, use my calculator, right? All right, then you have to use your calculator to do this from f of 1 all the way to f of 2, all right? But you might say, wow, that is a lot of typing. You're right, that is a lot of typing, and you have so many numbers to write. Is there any way to simplify this process? Yes, there is a way to simplify this process, and I'm going to show you how to get all the y values using a graphing calculator. So this graphing calculator on the left, you might ask me, hey, my graphing calculator, my TI-84 plus, TI-83 plus doesn't look like this. Yes, your calculator doesn't look like this. This is called, I think it's called graphing, it's called Graphing Calculator Plus. I spent $5 to buy this from the App Store. It is similar to your TI graphing calculator, but not exactly the same. So how do you input a function to a graphing calculator? First of all, you go to y equal, right? So let me just draw this for you. So you go to y equal, right? So you press the y equal key that is above the second key. So y equal, you press y equal and make sure there is no other functions in there. And then what is y equal to? Y is equal to the square root. So for square root, you press second and then you press the x square key. And then you type x, raise that to the third power, and then -1. If you want to get the cursor down, just hit the right arrow and then -1. We are not trying to graph this, so do not press graph. Do you have this? Y is equals to x to the third -1. And then I am going to get the table values. Before I get the table values, I need to set up my table. So when you set up your table, you hit, do you see the window key? Don't press the window key. Do you see this window right next to the y equal? And then above the window, do you see there is a table set up? Right? The window key. Above that, there is a table set up. So the window key. So all you have to do is you press second and then you press the window key, then that will go to the table setup. So you press second and then you press window. So press second and then you hit the window key, so you see the table setup. So the table setup, I don't know what numbers you have on your calculator, and you have to input where you want to start and what the increment is. So in this problem, I start at 1. So if you have some other number, just clear that and then type 1 and then you hit enter. Whatever the delta is, that is the increment. So the increment is 0.1, which is the delta x. So do you see the line on my work? The increment is 0.1. So 1, 1.1, 1.2, 1.3. So the increment is 0.1 and then you hit 0.1. And then that's it. Do not touch the rest of the stuff. And then how do you get the table value? So above the graph key, do you see it's not above the graph key, it's on the graph key. Do you see that there is a word called table? Just find where the graph key is, all the way to the right. Do you see that there is a word table? It's either in blue or in yellow. So you hit second and then you hit graph. So you hit second and then you hit graph. And then that brings you to the table. So this one I have something strange. Give me a minute so I can check my work really quick. Okay, y equal and then second window start at 1, the increment is 1, and then second graph. Yep, I don't know what happened last time. So let's go over this again. So if you get it, just be patient. So let me save more viewers. So we have y equal, you input the function first, and then you go to second, you go to window, the table setup, and then you enter where you want to start. The table starts at 1, and then the increment is 0.1. Do not touch the rest of the stuff. And then you go to second, you hit the graph key. Second, you hit the graph key. And then you see all the table values in there. How do you get the rest of the table value? Just hit the down arrow, so you will see all the table values. And then if you go up, you can see the 0, right? So when x is equals to 1, y is equals to 0. And then the number is a little bit small. I'm not sure if you can see this on your screen, but let me just write everything out for you. So let me return to yellow. So we have a 0.1 divided by 2. So 0.1 divided by 2. And then when x is equals to 1, y is equals to 0. And then you have 2 times, that is 0.5753, 26. So that is f of 1.1, and then for 1.2, you have 0.853229, and then for f of 3, you have 2 times 1.09, 40, 75, 6 decimal places. And then the next one, you have 2 times 1.320606, and then the next one you have 2 times, so let's go down 1.5, and then you have 1. 54. So you have 1.54, 1106, and then you have 1.75, 1.75, 95, 45. So that is for 1.6, and then for 1.7, you have 2 times 1.97, 81, 30, and then 1.8, 1.9, and 2.0. Let me show you that right now. And then you have 2 times 2.198181. Right? 1198181. And then for 1.9, you have 2.4205, 37, and then the last one is the coefficient is 1, right? So you have 1 times 2.64, 57, 51. And then you have to add all this up. There is no easier way to do it. You will just you will just have to add them. So when you do this, especially on the test, just be very careful. If one of the numbers is wrong, basically you wrote everything right, but you got the final answer wrong. So this is something that you have to practice if you want speed, right? Practice. So this one I got 1.50, 63, 61. So this is 6 decimal places, 6 numbers on the right hand side of the decimal point. So that is for the trapezoidal, and we have the midpoint rule. So for midpoint rule, allow me to get the lines one more time. So for midpoint rule, I am going to copy this line, copy, and then I'm going to write midpoint rule first, of course. So for midpoint rule, so midpoint rule, and then I will just paste the line over. So for midpoint rule, you need to find the midpoint of each interval. So there is a midpoint in here between each interval. So how do you find the midpoint of an interval? You take the left limit, you plus the right limit, and then you divide it by 2. That is 1.05. The next one is 1.1 plus 1.2 divided by 2. You have 1.15. So you have 1.05, 1.15, and then 1.25, 1.35. So the increment is 0.1, right? 45, 55, 65, 75, 85, and then 1.95. And then when you do the midpoint rule, so this will be 10 interval, right? So n equals to 10. So you have m10. So that is equals to, so the midpoint rule, you just take the delta x. So the delta x goes there. So that will be 0.1. You do not need to divide 2 or 3. And then you have the midpoint rule. There is no coefficient pattern. So no coefficient pattern. So you have f of 1.05 plus f of 1.15, and then f of 1.25, and then f of 1.35, and then 1.45, 55, 65, 75, and then 85, and then 95. That's it. And then this one, use the calculator to get this for you. So we do have to set up the table one more time. So the function, you go to y equal, we didn't change the function, but you have to set up the table one more time. So just go to second and then go to the window. We start at where? We start at 1. Let me clear this. We start at 1.05, and then the increment is 0.1. Okay, you start at 1.05, the increment is 0.1, and then you go to second, and then you hit graph. So you see the table right there, right? So 1.05, we have 0.39, 70, 20. So this is equals to 0.1. Okay, we got lost numbers to write. So the first one is 0.39, 70, 20. and then 0.72, 1717, and then 0.9762, 81. So that, and then we keep moving, 1.20, 84, 60, and then 1.43, 1302, and then we need the 1.55 and the rest. So 1.55, that is 1.65, 04, 17, and then 1.868723, and then 2.08, 79, 12, and then 2.30, 90, 31, and then the last one is 2.53, 27, 60. $1.53, 27, 60, and then this one I have overall I have 1.518362. So this is the final answer I have on my notes. Again, you wrote so many numbers on your paper, it is so easy to miss a number when you add them up. Just be very careful. All right. So that is my midpoint rule. One thing that I want to mention is on my notes, I have 0.5328, so 2.5328. I have this written on my notes. I am not sure if that affects the final answer. I am really not sure. So if that affects the final answer, then maybe my number is a little bit off. It's maybe a 1.5180, 8880 something. All right, so that is the midpoint rule. Let's do the Simpsons rule. So for the Simpsons rule, since that is not a midpoint, then all I need to do is just take the number line again. So before I do that, I have to say Simpsons rule, and then I copy and paste that number, the number line over. So this one I do not need to change anything. So that's for the Simpsons rule, and I have to make sure the 10 is an even number. So for S10, that is equals to the delta x. So delta x is equals to delta x is equals to 2 minus 1 divided by 10. That is equals to 0.1. So for Simpsons rule, you have to take the delta x divided by 3. For trapezoidal, that is divided by 2. And then the coefficient pattern. The coefficient pattern is what? Let me just move this down, because I would like to write the coefficient pattern. So the coefficient pattern. So there are 10 numbers, right? So we start at 1 and then we end at 1. And then we have to do the 4, 2, 4, 2. So 4, 2, 4, 2, 4, 2. And then that would be another 4, 2. So I have 4 pairs. So that is 8 number plus 2. So I have all 10 numbers there. So that's the coefficient pattern. And then we move this up. So we have to multiply 1 times f of 1, right? And then 4 times f of 1.1. And then 2 times f of 1.2. And then 4 times f of 1.3. And then 2, 1.4, 4, 1.5, and then 2, 1.6, and then 4, 1.7, and then 2, 1.8, and then 4, 1.9. Did I miss something? 4, 2, 4, 2, 4, 2. And then 4. Oh, from 1 to 2.0, there are 11 numbers. Okay, got it. I did not miss anything. And then the last one is f of 2. There is a 4, because from 1, this is 1.0. So 1.0 to 2. Yes, there is a 4, 4, 2, 4, 2. The last one must be a 4. Okay, let's do the math. So we have 0.1 divided by 3, and then f of 1. So f of 1, this one we have to redo the table because the table, this table is for the previous problem. So we go to y equal, make sure the function is right, and then we go to second window, and then the table starts at 1. And then the increment is 0.1, no need to change that, and then second graph. So that's the value that I need. So we have f of 1, so that will be a 0, and then 4 times 0.575326, and then 2 times 0.85 3229, and then plus 4 times 1.094075, and then 2 times 1.320606, and then I need more numbers. And then 4 times 1.54, 1104, and then plus 2 times 1.75, 9545, and then 4 times 1.9780 and then plus 2 times f 2.198181, and then the 1.9, so that is 4 times 2.420537, and then the last one is 2.0, right? So that is 1 times 2.6457, 51. So overall, I have this approximately equal to 1.511519. So this one is from Simpson. And then what did we get for the trapezoid? So for the trapezoid, we have 1.506361. So that is for the trapezoidal. Alright, so that is the end of this video. Hopefully the calculator strategy works for you. If you think my instruction is helpful, let me know in the comment below. Like the video, share the video for me, subscribe to my channel. See you all in the next one. Signing off for now.